Okay, guys. Uh, we are going a little late. Daughter showed up and wanted to wish Greg a happy Father's Day and all that fun stuff. So we're doing hour and 10 minutes late. So we won't stay long. That way we won't keep by all you guys. Greg is just grabbing some coffee and we'll get some chit chatting going. Give me 1 second. Hello, D. Get this on here for anyone that wants to join. Alrighty, make sure it's going everywhere. There it goes. And Taylor, hello. So first off, we'll go and say Happy Father's Day to all of the gaming fathers. Um, that way, that's out and about. Um, any more? Let's see. I've been working on some of our terrain. Greg's working on, I believe his tanks is what he's been working on, or his soldiers, I believe, is what he's been doing more of. Um, sorry, I'm sitting at his desk. So yeah, it looks like he's working on his guys. Is what it looks like he's working on there. But he has all his little German guys that he's working on. Um, I got, I think the last week I showed the one piece I got done. Um, so I'm working on one similar to this piece, but it's actually more of a teed. So I got the brown all done. Started working up on the gold basing that's around the windows and the base. This is the one that I don't remember if I finished this last week or not, but let me see if I can switch this over. Oh, I can. Okay, so let's drop this down real quick. And we'll switch this over. So this is the one I just finished just a couple days ago. So this one actually has some decent sized cracks in it. Um, I went and took some black wash and got in, so it looks like there's more divots on this one at least. So there's this one. There's a massive crack there. And down up in here. There's one there. So this one is done. I have two more. So basically the one I'm working on is kind of like that. It's weird because trying to get my hand in between it sucks. I'll re-show this one so that way you guys can see it. So I did a lot of red just to try to offset this brown. It's actually tan, but on here it looks kind of greenish. But there's that. There's massive crack there. Some more wires up in there. I just like the red for the wiring. So instead of having just gold and black and silver, I put some red and blues, kind of offset it a little bit. Yeah, D, this is what Warhammer's actual train, or is it Kill Team?
That's Warhammer.
Yeah, so this is Warhammer. So, all right, so there's that. Switch back over here. Greg's back now.
You can see my face.
There we go. Moving the. So yeah, D, there are a lot of detail in that. So, there it goes. Tighten down. Stay.
That won't fall.
I hope not.
So, Taylor's there, Dee's there.
Yep.
What is that up there? Oh, okay.
So D said, "Happy Father's Day."
Thank you, Dee. Happy Father's Day to you, Taylor, and all the other fathers out there.
Yep. So I already explained why we late on our chat.
Why are we late?
I don't know. Our daughter came over with the grandkids and gave you a nice present.
That does it. A little bit late, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
They don't need the headsets unless people want to call
Yeah,
in.
pretty much.
It's been a crazy week, so
That it has. So, Friday we took our dog down to our local like pond kind of thing, lake, and spent a couple hours there with him, and then we had to put him down yesterday. So we've all been kind of a wreck.
Yeah, it's been kind of a bummed out day today. So I'm not my normal
Cheery self.
goofy self, I guess, today. But
We did go and do our little, I guess, Sunday hangout with Keegan and Dee today because Clint's actually out camping.
yeah, he went to
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota. So he's out there. So we did 5 rounds of Pac-Man, which I stomped all of them. So
Yeah, fair enough. But Pac-Man's pretty cool board game.
yep.
So I'll see if I can get that up by tomorrow. I'll try. Anyways, I got the video of 4 rounds of it, so
4 or 5 rounds. I think
Yeah.
you got one of all of us.
we'll see. I mean, it may or may not be exciting to you, but it's a quick game. It's Pac-Man on a board.
I think we
Uh,
played 5 rounds and it only was like 25 or 30 minutes maybe.
yeah.
It just
really
depends
pretty short.
on what you roll and how quick those ghosts get out.
I got it. I'm good.
Okay. So that's pretty much all that is. We won't take up too much of you guys' time because it is Father's Day and all you guys pretty much have.
Although we have more people joining.
I mean, if they keep coming, we'll keep going.
Well, it was just we wanted to try to maintain at least being on, but it's just been a depressingly bad 2 days.
That it
And
has.
so hopefully everybody's Father's Day is good, or you get to hang out with the kids and stuff. But that's the way it goes, I guess. There's not much you can do about it.
Yep. That
Other
it
than
is.
that, so we did get a game in today, so that's good. And, have you guys gotten any games in at all yourselves? I know Dee has. Taylor. But,
D. Ashley is quick and deadly.
yeah, on the Pac-Man, Ashley was very aggressive.
Hey, I grew up with Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's not supposed to be Death Guard Pac-Man.
Hey, give me a chance. I will go and pay him Death Guard wise. I will do it. Yeah, and I did win last weekend too
Well,
with Clint.
Taylor says he's been busy there too, huh? I know it's like
It's like for some reason this last month everyone's been busy.
it's just weird. I don't know. You can go to the store and get more soda or go get more milk, but you can't go get more time.
Yep.
So I find that I've lost a lot of time lately when I should be trying to enjoy things.
Okay.
Oh,
That
all right.
works.
So you finally got it then, Taylor?
Yeah, I
That's
think he
good.
said that last week.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and so I believe he said it finally came in last week. D, you just got screwed on the cards is all. So it's not that. I mean, the first time we played, I think I lost right off the back pretty much. So it's more
Well, the game itself is quick. Either you make it or you're
yeah.
dead. I mean, it's Pac-Man on the video game plays pretty quick.
I mean, even on like the video game or old style, any of them, you just hope to God you could run more with the old style. But
Okay, so Taylor, you've got some shorts up on your channel, and we'll go check them out then.
oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the shorts, if they actually help or not. I mean, people's attention spans have gotten short.
So what is that, like
So
60 seconds or something like
it's
that, or a
just
minute and a half
it's
or something?
YouTube's competing with TikTok is all it is.
Ah,
It's a 1 minute. It's like Reels on Instagram or TikTok 60-second. Get your video in. Although with some games, there's just no way to do it in a minute. You can kind of do a brief overview, but um, yeah, 1 minute view. So
upright view. Oh, okay. Oh, it's meant for phone use.
and I still think that it was their answer to everybody else doing these little clips.
Yeah.
And the phone use is good. I mean, people are more and more mobile. They're not sitting at a laptop or a desktop for the most part. I mean, we do when we do this stuff, but almost everything they got you doing on your phone.
I still want to take your Space Marine and take him and paint him.
Which one?
The big one.
No,
Yeah.
he's fine.
Make him look more badass.
He's supposed to look the way he looks.
I want to make him badass looking with the scar and some blood. Why not?
Yeah, little short advertisements. That'd be about right.
Since we have three, but I'm not quite sure who the third one is. I know Dee's on here and Taylor.
Mhm.
I don't know who the third one is.
Well, we're glad the third one's there. So there
Mhm.
was a fourth one. I just figured today would be kind of a hit or miss because it's about dinner time.
Yeah.
Or
Usually we're
supper
pretty much
time.
ending it out now.
And so we didn't want to look at it now.
We say next Sunday, we're planning on doing a little. Haven't figured out all the details yet, but it's going to be the French, the Russians, Americans, and the German, West
It's
Germans.
just going to be a skirmish.
Just a little skirmish. We haven't figured
It's not
out
gonna
team
be
wise.
Yeah, you can't adhere to all rules. It's just going to be the basic rules, the Team Yankee rules.
I think-
but it'll be more like kind of a free for all.
I know Keegan wanted to do what, 2 tanks and a helicopter, because we all have helicopters, we all have tanks. So we're going to try to figure out something. It's not
Well-
going to go anywhere near what it's actually supposed to be.
We don't get to play too much, and Dee is brand new to it, so it would be a good way to get out there and get the movements down and the shooting and all that for both the tanks and the helicopters.
Yeah.
So it'll work out pretty good, I think. It'll be pretty good. It's at least a good excuse to play. So, like I said, Sundays we try to get together at a coffee shop out here and either do a RPG, but we don't because this week is Clint's on vacation for 10 days.
You don't need that long.
He's got 10 days off, lucky guy. And yeah, so I've got a video of the Pac-Man thing. I'll probably, if I can get it finished up tonight, I'll probably upload it for tomorrow so that there's something there for you guys. And then next weekend we'll take that video. In the meantime, just trying to get over the loss of the dog, and
Yeah, tonight's
That's
going to
just-
be fun.
just been very depressing. So I haven't felt like painting today. I mean, I'm looking at stuff I want to paint, but I just don't.
I know. That's what my problem
Not
is. I have
really.
that piece I already started. I need to get it done. And
I guess if I started painting, I would get into it. It's just the getting started part right now.
I got to finish my Space Marines too. Or my Death Guard. Because I still got, I think, 4. Well, one's half done. And 3 other ones that are actually from the combat box. And then my mashups or whatever you want to call them. But I have to get that green Millie Putt to fill in some of the gaps.
I have some Millie Putt you can use.
Yeah, because I believe it's this one. Yeah,
I don't know
where
if
his
I have
arm's
the-
like not connected.
You might have to get the thicker stuff because I have the seam filler.
Well, this is a big seam.
Well, you might want to take it off that base. If you can.
I can't. That's the only base I have
Why did you put it on such a small base?
because it was the only bases I had. Oh, I think they look a little
You
badass.
could always glue that to a bigger base and then step it up like dirt or something,
Like he's on a rock.
or a stone.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got to fill in this. I think this was actually um, one of your bases
I
or
don't know.
rocks.
It's just you kit bash them, so that's pretty cool. I don't really have anything to kit bash.
Well, I just had the extra parts, which I might go through all my parts and just make some creepy looking thing.
What I want to do, I want to do a game of X-wing, Star Wars X-wing.
Yeah, I'll pull out our box and get that going. Yeah, I'll whoop your ass.
Yeah, probably.
I would. I got the scum.
So I don't know, you guys. Hopefully everybody's week is a good week, and get some more stuff up here and going. So what you doing with my little box?
Gonna grab your X-Acto blade
Why?
because there's a couple pieces I didn't trim off.
So don't cut your fingers.
Nah, it won't be the first time, and it won't be the last.
Yeah, but cutting your fingers with the razor blade is not very much fun.
No, it's not. I've done it. I've actually cut my palm too.
There's a dark side of hobbying. You get stabbed a lot sometimes.
I've actually drawn blood. Actually, a few of my guys have drawn blood. Because I've dropped them, and because they have these horns and they're sharp, they stick into you.
Maybe it's just the way you were grabbing at it.
Oh God, which one was it? It was my bloat drone. That first one I got from the No Fear box.
Oh, okay.
Well, it has like a round. It looks like a fan kind of base, but it has big actual spikes on it. I dropped and grabbed. It stuck actually into my palm. I actually was impaled by plastic. Not cool. So what'd you cut yourself on, D?
Yeah, Dee said she cut herself.
She's never seen a cut.
It's going to happen if you're doing any kind of modeling. At some point, you're going to get a boo-boo.
Or 2, or 12, or...
Well, not all of us are going to get 12 boo-boos. You got to be careful with what you're doing, too. See, now, you're doing something I wouldn't ever say to do. Cutting towards yourself.
Myself, yeah. You tell me that all the time. Why do you do that? Because that's how I'm comfortable doing it.
So we don't recommend that at all. There's our liability being removed. Don't move the knife towards yourself. Although I guess maybe in some instances that's one way to get to a part. What'd she cut it on?
A carabine drum?
What the heck is?
What is that?
That must be something
A metal tone drum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how you cut yourself on a drum, but...
Well, I mean, if it's metal, you got probably some of the actual pieces are sharp.
Yeah, music can be dangerous, too. A metal tone drum, that might do it. That might do it. So, man. Anyway, it's not...
Your blade sucks, babe.
Yeah. Well, I've used it a lot, so it probably needs to be changed out. But don't change that right now. Don't worry about it. Steel pan. I don't know, Taylor. Have you ever cut yourself pretty bad?
I mean, I haven't cut myself bad enough I needed stitches or anything. But, you know, when you're cutting, you still nick it and it's like, ow! Normally, I end up getting it like right up in here, is where I'm holding the peas. Because with Kaiser stuff, when I was cleaning those off, those pieces were actually tiny. And yeah, I ended up cutting myself all the time. Oh, Brian's there. 1 second, Brian. I'm not going to poke your glasses.
What's up, guys? Hold on 1 second. Let me.
Hold on a second, Brian.
There we go.
There.
Now we can
Hey,
hear
guys,
you.
I didn't think you guys were going to do your thing today.
Our daughter came over, so we did it a little late. Father Day and everything, so.
Happy Father Day, all you fathers out there.
Yeah, same to you, Brian. I'm just in a bum mood because of putting the dog down.
Yeah,
Today's
that
like-
sucks, brother.
Yeah, it does. So
But-
I'm not my normal cheery self, I guess.
I mean, 13 years, dude, long time. What's up, Taylor?
So yeah, he would be 13 as of the 18th of next month.
Yeah,
So it was hard on everyone.
yeah. My dog of 15 years, I had to put down last year. It was rough.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild when your dog is almost as older than your family, you know.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, our grandkids, I mean, they've all grown up with him, but they're young enough to really understand the process. But our nephews took it real hard, and so did my son.
We used to, because we do family like pheasant hunting and stuff, you know. So the dog was always there when we would go out in the field. So I don't know. It's just you've been through it, so you know what I mean. The next day is like, I got up this morning, I had to work. Normally he's there, even though he was dragging himself around in a lot of pain. But I don't know. It just screwed me up for the day.
Yep, and I
Well,
have to work tonight, so it's.
You're gonna have those emotions for a while because I mean, it's just, part of the family is gone.
Yep, that I know.
That is true.
But
So I want someone to really piss me off at work tonight because I'll just chew them completely out. I guarantee I'll probably come home fired.
no, but
don't do that.
listen, your puppy wouldn't want that, would he?
No, I know, but it just I get dumbasses at work all the time, so it's one of those, not in the mood to.
This world is full of dumbasses.
Yeah, especially where
You
we
gotta
live.
maneuver around them the best you can.
Maneuver around them. Yeah.
Hope their dumbass influence isn't too, damaging.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that these days. It's an incredible amount. So anyways, how's your day going then, Brian?
It's just
Hopefully
me.
not.
Mel's working, and the kids are hanging with mom, and so it's.
So you've had a Father's Day kind of day.
Nah, I'm not really. I mean, no. They called me and
Okay,
said
let's
Happy
put it
Father's
this
Day.
way. He chewed me out because I actually bought him a card and something for Father's Day.
I didn't see you.
Yes, you did.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not really. I don't need a lot of. I'm not really demonstrative when it comes to needing all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, if it happens, but I've been a caregiver my whole life, and it's just like I've pretty much given more than I've received, so it's just no big deal. I mean, if it happens, it's cool. If it doesn't, it's just not a big deal. It's just another day.
It is another day.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I mean,
okay, so it's okay for you to go and say that, but when I tell you the exact same thing and chewed you out for actually buying me something on Mother's Day, you said because I've been here and I needed it. It don't work that way.
I said for my safety, I bought you presents.
well, that's another thing. It's like,
No.
I mean, I think most holidays are because people want to give. Well, the cool people want to give to you.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of people that you need in your life. Those are the ones. And even though you say I don't need anything, they still get you something. That's cool. That's what I do. I get Mel all sorts of shit, and she's like, "You don't need to." I'm like, "I'm not buying it for you, woman. I'm buying it for me to give to you." So shut
You're
it.
buying it so you don't kill me.
I bought you this whole new set of miniatures.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
okay. So when Frost and Fist was on their live stream, last week? Yeah, last Friday. He went and told them that I shoved him into the trunk of our car.
No, they asked where Greg was. I said, I'm in the trunk. And then you said that it was because I didn't buy you miniatures, so we played this little game.
No, they're asking about every fucking week.
So now people ask, are you okay? I said, yeah, somehow that trunk release cord was cut.
It's like people, you run into people like at the game store. People are handing like notes to Greg, like, if you need help, call us. Here's a battery hotline.
Right. I mean, there's a couple of them that do that. You sure you're okay? Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah,
It's like,
one guy, Commodore, he'll say, Greg, blink to let us know you're safe.
It's like when you go to the hospital, they ask you, do you feel safe at home? Are you okay to talk here without any kind of...
yeah, it's like
what?
I did that to my doctor one day. I asked her, I said, doc, I said, you never asked me if I feel safe at home. And she's didn't know what to say. I said, it's because I'm a big fat guy, right? So you figure I'm okay.
Exactly. Just because I'm a big tough guy
and I said,
doesn't mean I don't need help.
Yeah, I told her, I said, I'm just messing with you. I need help with the dishes. Yeah. But,
I just watched I'm flipping through YouTube, and you go through the damn rabbit hole, and you go here, and I happened across some professional wrestler, okay, was like, after a bout, he was at the hotel and he's drinking or whatever, and I think it was some like lady or some small guy or somebody small in stature, right, came up to him and started fucking with him, right, and then like that person like pushed him, right, and then the wrestler like pushed him down or punched him or something. The guy or girl, whoever it was just knocked out, right? So, I mean, of course, they fucking arrest him, and they're like, well, you're big, and they're not. And, well, he went to court, and he's like, look, just because I'm fucking big and strong doesn't mean that some asshole can just come up and shank me or shoot me or even attack me. Just because I'm big and strong doesn't mean that I am, devoid of not being attacked,
Yeah.
And he won the case. I mean, the jury's like, yeah, I mean, he was assaulted, and he was,
he fought back. Right.
It's self-defense. I mean, and then but I've read in other cases where like a big guy like punched a girl because the girl like hit him with something, and then of course he got like jail time or some shit. I'm like, what?
Well, when people assault other people, I mean, that's just where you kind of,
doesn't matter what,
in my opinion, is like
size you are. When you assault somebody, you assault them.
Yeah.
Yep, basically.
But I don't know.
Unfortunately.
Well, here in Iowa, there is no self-defense law.
No common
there
sense.
isn't.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, okay, fine. If I'm going to go to jail anyway for beating the fuck out of you, I'm going to kill you. Not literally, but.
Wow.
Well,
maybe I better be careful at home.
I just have blades.
It sucks because I don't know. We don't want to go down that path of politics and on your show, so we won't.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about self-defense and stand your ground laws. I think.
Well, personally, if someone's going to attack you, you should have the right to go and defend yourself.
You should.
Period.
You should have the right to defend yourself, your family, and your property.
Yep.
Well, you do.
The cops are reactive. They're not proactive. They're not around until you call them, and then by then it's too late.
Well, that's the thing. What do you do in the meantime?
Exactly. You're like, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I'm not ready yet for this fight.
No, can you stop breaking into the house? I called the police. We're waiting for them.
It's like, hold on, don't kill me yet. I'm not ready. Yeah.
Not in this world, man. People are brutal.
Can't push pause in real life.
You don't respawn.
Yeah.
In a different spot. So.
I guess if you like play dead, like like what are those goats? Aren't there some goats or something that
the fainting goats?
Yeah, they pass out.
Yeah, the fainting goats.
You just pass out. They're like, holy shit, we just killed them.
Oh god, there's a snake that does it too. Basically, it'll flip itself on its back and start curling itself around and acting like it's dead if it feels threatened. It actually throws its tongue out like it's like just dead. It's like
you have too much time on your hand at your job.
Yes.
That's crazy.
When I get bored, yeah. I have way too much time on my hands.
Well, is everything opening up there in your state?
Oh yeah,
For the most part.
yeah, pretty much.
So
I mean,
people are
there's
coming
still
to hotels and stuff again?
they haven't stopped.
They
Oh,
never stopped using hotels.
really?
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
kind of it's funny down here in Killeen. One of the big, I think it's the Hilton. We had a Hilton, or I think it was a Hilton or Holiday. I don't know. One of the bigger hotels in town. Like in mid-pandemic, when everything was closed down, the thing burned up. Like
Oh
burned. And
sure.
what's funny is that the appraisal district had like it went from being worth this much, and then that year's appraisal of the property went up, like was up like by 150%, and then it burns down. So it's like,
Hmm.
and then it's like nobody knows how it burned down. The fire marshal's like, I don't know. It started in the top floor, and we don't know what happened. It's just like, dude, it's
And
so
they couldn't
fucking
have
corrupt
stopped
down
it?
here. No, they didn't. They just
What
burned the
is
damn
that
thing burned
noise?
down. I mean, not the whole thing, but like the top. They had to demolish it. They can't redo it or whatever. But
Hmm.
of course, there's no comment by the damn owners, or the owners couldn't be contacted because it's some corporate shit or whatever. And it's just like it's bad
Yes,
down
all the
here.
way around.
Well, the
It's
good
just
thing
like
is, I think they're gonna. Well, it's good for the local hobby stores finally to get their business going too,
oh yeah, definitely.
and it's
Gotta get those doors open.
the expos and that.
The conventions and stuff.
Yeah. So those
That's
are
cool.
all. I mean, the reality is, this thing's been here this long. You're just gonna have to deal with it anyways, and people can't. You can't just shut everything off. I mean,
I mean, it's what they should have done. It's like you either take precautions or you don't. You either get vaccinated or you don't. You either get it or you don't. So
yeah,
it's
but
like
and
it's.
in my opinion on that is, if you've got it, why are you worried about the people that don't?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like
Should it matter to anybody at this point?
if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Who cares? I mean, like if you're walking down the street and somebody starts giving you flack for wearing a mask, go, what am I triggering you?
Yeah,
What's the
see, that's
matter?
the
Is my
terrible thing.
life that like you know impeding on yours because I have a mask on? It's just ridiculous. People are just so stupid.
Well,
Anyway,
right before the pandemic, I mean, people, I mean, still now, like, what is it? The Karen effect, I think they were
yeah,
calling it,
yeah,
where
It's
it didn't
just
matter. It's like if they didn't like something, they would just throw this. I'm like, really? You're making everyone look stupid.
there's no
it's
there's
true.
yeah there's no point in trying to shame other people or harass other people or any of that. I mean,
It's ridiculous,
you got to do
man.
what you got to do for what you believe is right for you, and not really worry about the rest of it. And
I mean, there's not a week that goes by that I don't get somebody like ratting out somebody on my Facebook page on my group or
really,
something. They didn't like what they said, or there's a
yeah,
picture of something or other.
Then
I'm
why
just
are
like,
they on
look,
your group?
it's like, look,
it's
dude,
it's just drama.
just don't fucking look at it. I mean, no one's telling anybody to do anything bad. No one's doing anything stupid. Just chill out, man. God
Right.
Almighty. I just nix them, man. I'm sick of arguing with people, like making them listen to reason. I mean, I get it. That's their opinion. Fine, but you're gone. I'm just not gonna
Because
put up with it.
that's your
It's not
opinion.
gonna put.
See,
It's my group. If
it's
you
your
don't
group
like it,
in a lot of the game stuff. I mean, Games Workshop got a bunch of hate because of the way they supposedly portrayed all the characters and not giving, enough like female characters or all this. And they've been, it's just ridiculous. It's a game. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, they're going off of basically war stuff. Even way back, they didn't really let females into the war.
Well, it wasn't a matter of that. It was men were always the ones that always went. Women always stayed with the kids. It's not a matter of people not letting them. That's how society was, and that's what people wanted at the time. But when you're talking about a game, it's a game. But a game doesn't have to be politically
it's like
correct.
it's like what is stopping anybody from playing with an all-female Warhammer army?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just there's a battle. Go,
Nothing.
Go,
Well,
I mean, even
that
not-
you got, Sisters of Battle. You have
Not
the
even
Slash.
that.
They have basically just straight women. Well, granted, those are things.
Slanesh or not. Yeah, they're
But the thing is, it's like you could play an all female guard. You could play an all female chaos, whatever faction.
You
could
tell
play
me
an
where I
all-
can find an all-female chaos. Because I'll be
Yeah.
buying it.
well.
I mean,
I'll
just
bet you
go
they're-
out and get a bunch of female.
Yeah, I mean, you can make them whatever you want.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Oh, they don't do it yourself, man. Shit, nothing's stopping.
Who was it? I was looking them up last week. Someone, was it Kaiser or was it Mythos? One of them said there was an actual Sisters of Battle, but they were chaos.
Yeah,
And I
I've seen
couldn't find them at all.
I think it's
But from what little I did find they were 3D printed from Etsy. Someone just was making them.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Etsy people. They're still making stuff. I mean, it's just trying to. I know what you're talking. I know what they're talking about. It's like it's not Heresy Miniatures. I can't remember. I know what they're talking about. It's a company that makes like third part, their own independent like Warhammer Esh stuff. They got some awesome shit, man. Awesome, but they make a line of like chaotic. Like
women.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna get the Sisters of Battle is what I'm gonna go with.
I mean, you can make. It's just ridiculous it's just this whole like forcing people to do. One of my being a libertarian and a constitutionalist, I don't force my will on anybody. It's not my job to do that, and I live as I please, and I don't force my will on anybody.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, everyone has their own opinion.
Listen. Yeah, I mean, I'll listen to your opinion. I don't have to agree with it, but I'm not going to force you to live my lifestyle. Anyway.
The reason I'm picking the Sisters D, I liked when I painted Greg's the two black ones, his Judicator and his priest. No, what the chaplain. I like that black uniform, so that's what I'm going with. And that way, when we do play, me and you can actually team up, and that way you have someone else on your back.
On your
my territory.
I mean, the whole story with the sisters, wasn't it like I don't know what the church of the emperor couldn't have like a military, like a men military, so they just made them women instead.
Well, they're from what I get, they enforce all that zealot part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What
somewhat. I mean,
background is.
There's so much lore to 40K that you have to kind of go through it. There's a couple people that make some good videos on it.
I watched a couple not too long ago. Some guy was talking about the evolution of like Necromunda, I think it was. It's pretty interesting.
They know quite a bit. So there's some good resources for that. What are you looking up?
And which one do I want to buy?
Well, maybe we could just get a unlimited money tree or something.
That works. You gonna plant them?
Yeah, if it's gonna grow money, I will plant them.
Get those money
somewhere
trees
in a forest where nobody knows.
You have to do a hydroponic in your house so you don't lose any of that money.
That's true.
I don't think this is Warhammer.
No, I think that line is called "Women of the Galaxy." I think is. Let me look that up. See if I can find that.
These things are kind of cool though.
It's like Sci-Fi Women of the Galaxy or something.
This is called Daughters of the Crucible. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is.
Those some detailed models. For what game? That's for a game now, so.
Yeah, I just don't know what game that is.
Let's see if I. Okay, here we go. I found it. I think it's Raging Heroes. Yeah, Raging Heroes is that. I think it's that company that has those crazy sister battle stuff.
It's from Raging Heroes.
Yeah. See if that's.
No, that's what I just found. It's Sisters of the Crucible. It's from Raging Heroes.
Yeah. Is that them?
Daughters of the Crucible.
Or Daughters of the Crucible.
Raging Heroes.
Sister Battle Squad.
That's more adult themed. Wow.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, they got some pretty cool stuff in that. I actually reached out to them to see if they wanted to sponsor us, but they never.
Oh, Taylor's joining.
All right.
Hey.
Hello, Taylor.
What's up, man?
Is that
How are
a
you?
frog?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's Keck. Hi, Keck. How are you?
He's got a frog.
It's the
Hello,
battle
Yeah,
of
it's
Daniel.
Lori full of booze.
It's the well, if you remember from a couple years ago, the Keck memes. This is the statue that of the person watching the internet and receiving information, and that's how Trump won the election.
That's
Right? That whole Keck theory that went around 4chan and that. So yeah, I got a statue. It's like $30 on
hilarious.
Amazon a couple of
There's
years ago.
lots of conspiracies
But,
out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
at
just wanted to kind of show off a little steam lorry that I got for. I'm going to use it for a very British Civil War.
Right on.
And yeah, I got it in from England from a place.
There you go.
It's kind of a uniquely,
Yeah,
it's
it's
1
a
to 50
truck.
scale. It's die cast, so it's all done. Like don't have to paint it, nothing.
Wow.
So it's like a
Yeah,
beer brewery.
my
this
miniatures.
One, so.
My vehicles go from about 150 to 143, depending on where I can get them. But 150 is a pretty good scale when it comes to vehicles, like big trucks.
Yeah,
I am so
But-
good in this box.
got like barrels of beer.
What are you
here.
laughing about?
Oh, this massive gun on this box of Sister Squad I want to get.
It's
Oh, yeah.
overkill.
Are you looking at Raging Heroes?
No,
See
this is
what?
actual Warhammer.
Oh.
Just look at Raging Heroes and then Warhammer.
So is
Yeah, I
Canada
just thought I'd
still
show
locked
that
down,
off.
man?
Yeah, we're still locked down. But it's not as severe as it was about a month ago. They have
That's
been
good.
like the lockdown here has been sort of more on the federal level. So, driving across the border is still forbidden and stuff. But it's kind of like
Crazy.
there's no real law enforcement on the lockdown measures. Like the local cops and even the provincial police here, they're not like being hard on anybody. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the law is there, but nobody's around to enforce
No
it,
one's enforcing it.
right?
So, I mean, so the
Yeah.
border is closed, like for commerce and.
Yeah. Well, no, you can get mail again. Like, the post office was closed for a while. That's why I was
Yeah.
having a problem getting. Hold on, I'll get it. The board
Tanks, vanilla
game,
tanks.
right? Like I got this
Yeah.
from, and this was sent the 24th of April, and then the post
Was
office
it really that
here
long?
didn't start. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Jeez.
And then the post office finally opened up again at the end of May to start receiving packages. But of course, there's a backlog. And so then there's a delay because of a backlog. And so I got it last week. I just haven't had a chance to play it or anything yet. But yeah.
You could have walked.
It's,
You could have walked from your guys. You could have walked from your house to Eric's house, dropped it off, and walked back.
Fuck, I could have drove
probably.
up there and
Well-
had it there within 12 hours.
We could have drove up there and tossed
was
it over the border. Here, Taylor, catch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then when I saw like you got it like priority delivery, and so it was like I looked at the postage mark and it was like $50 or something like that, and I'm like, holy jeez!
Yeah.
It cost us
You would think
$54
You're
to
paying
mail
that kind of money, you expect like, you know,
It being gold?
maybe some coke or something you could snort. You know, like, geez, that's expensive.
That's not even Canadian
Like,
money.
yeah.
That's American money, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's American. So that's like $500,000 Canadian or something. Our pesos up here are like nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
It was crazy stupid to mail it. I was like, my God, that's
Yeah.
twice what the game
Yeah.
costs.
I mean,
had to
I
buy.
sent
Yeah.
the stuff back to Kaiser. It only cost me 26 to send it across the country or across the world.
Well, you know,
Not something that's connected
like,
to us.
you know, something you might want to look into next time. I found out the company that does this is a Canadian company, right? They're where are they? Thornton, Ontario, right? Like if you look on the back, there's Thornton, Ontario.
Oh, you could probably just
Order
from
it through them and just have
Yeah,
them
you
ship it
order
straight
it
to
from
you.
them and then send it if it's in the country of where you're sending it, right, or closer to it. Like I don't know if you ever get a somebody who wins in Britain or something, just order it from a place in Britain and send it to them that way. It's probably way cheaper for postage, you know. Just something to think about, like, and
Yeah.
or
We've
other
already thought
alternative
about
is
it.
Yeah, we
Trust
have.
Man,
yeah,
it's
look into
it's getting-
courier, look into FedEx or something. It might
It's
actually be
getting to the
cheaper
point,
for
man.
a package.
where commercially you're gonna have to find distributors now. You know, none of this,
Yeah.
you know, this open market crap isn't working anymore, man, because everybody's charging the
Yeah.
hell out of like value added taxes or whatever import taxes, and then the whatever BS. It's gonna almost kind of revert, but like we'll just stick in the gaming industry, man. I mean, it's expensive to
Yeah.
order from England, you know, and it's
Yeah,
like,
well, I was actually considering opening up an Amazon store and just importing a whole bunch of miniatures that I don't know, like stuff that you'd have to order from Australia or New Zealand, like Empress Miniatures or whatever, and just set up a store up here in Canada where you could order all of that stuff, like get a whole bunch of like I think you have to get like 10 of each item in order to list it on Amazon, like to send it to the distribution center, and then they can send it via Prime, right? Then that way, you know, if we have another lockdown, we have another whatever, you could order like various miniatures, like oddball stuff, just from my store here in Canada instead of having to deal with customs and lockdowns and, you know, slow shipping because of whatever, you know.
you know, that's been a big, contention for a long time for the folks down in Australia and New Zealand, is that just the shipping to them is just outrageous to begin with. And especially if
Yeah.
you're talking in gaming sense, a lot of the gaming stuff is coming from Europe or America, and that's a hell of a trek. Now that's why you have like
Yeah.
like Eureka, Eureka's in on, I think Eureka's Australia. They have like a Eureka USA, but I don't think they carry their entire catalog. It's just the popular stuff, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys ever listen to the podcast, Paint All the Minis, Dan interviewed a guy the other week about he had opened up a distribution, like gaming distribution company in Japan or China. I think he was in China actually.
Mhm.
And so he was distributing like European and American product from China, so that the Asian market is open. And then he was also sending, because he's in Asia, Japan and China's right there where everything's made in at least our hobby, or in the miniatures and modeling or whatever. So he was, getting that stuff like zero money and then shipping it to the States and to Europe. So it was pretty interesting, his whole spiel about doing like a distributing thing is pretty cool. And it was
Yeah,
within our hobby. So it was kind of interesting.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's definitely an issue that's come up in the last, well, ever since the whole virus thing hit, has been distribution, because you literally have shipping companies scrapping ships
Yeah.
because, well, they're older ships usually, but they just scrap ships because they're just sitting not making any money, right? Like a ship only makes money when it has cargo on it, when it's going back and forth. Otherwise, you're paying a crew to keep that ship afloat and it's not generating any revenue for it. So if you know you're going to be down for 6 months, just scrap some of your ships early, make the money off of the scrap. But the problem is that in order to get a new ship, you've got the whole building process. It probably takes you 2-3 years to get a new ship to
Some of
replace
those
it,
ships
right?
If it's
take
small,
7 years or more to build.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as the tramp steamer anymore. There's no like, independent contractors, cargo ships anymore. It's all these mega corps that are, these
Yeah.
super, giant cargo vessels and tanker, there's no like, Chuck
Yeah, like
and his buddies,
yeah,
a cargo ship, it's
yeah,
not like that anymore. Because you have to have the
yeah,
money to grease the damn palms of all these countries. You got to have a legal staff to get you through all the customs and all the damn paperwork in each port.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it ain't
Yep.
cheap.
yeah. Well, there's a whole logistics thing behind it though that we don't see.
Yeah.
But basically, if the moment it gets disrupted, this is the whole problem with having the manufacturing, of most items over in a place like China. Like,
Nice single location. Yeah.
it was bound to happen.
Well, I remember in America, a lot of these, a lot of the components that are needed to make like, the vaccinations or whatever are like from India or from China or whatever, right?
Yeah,
And all the politicians were freaking out. Well, why don't we have an indigenous, and a local that does this? And they made all this fuss and kerfuffle about all the crap. Not a word now. Not a single. No
yeah,
one gives a shit. They got the vaccine. We're giving vaccines away now. We have so much. We're giving them. We just gave a
yeah,
bunch to Taiwan. We're giving them to our buddies. So we're giving a bunch to Taiwan. I don't know why we're not just pumping India full of it. I mean, they need it bad.
India's got a lot of it though. A lot more than you think.
Most of that stuff, a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff is produced in India and it's being shipped abroad, and their people aren't getting any of it. It's just insanity. It's
yeah.
just weird.
Well, there's that theory that they're, like, let's be honest here. There's probably a portion of their population that they don't think is productive enough, that they would refer to as like useless herders, right? And they want to cull the herd, and
I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody or any nation or its peoples, but I mean, it's just insane where, where it's being produced can't get it, but again, these are issues that are way out of my, control. So, but yeah, it's the shipping across the world has changed a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to get better or worse because,
I
England's
think it'll get worse, Brian.
Well, I'm not sure if the
EU.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think the EU is gonna last. The European Union. I don't think it's gonna last. Britain bailed. Germany's not gonna want to. They're in good. They're in good, man. They have a good economy. The Deutsch or whatever they call it, the mark or whatever is it's pretty healthy. But they don't want to be doing all these bailouts to Greece and Italy and all these other smaller EU countries that are just irresponsible financially. And I'm telling you, America's hundreds of 20s of trillions of dollars in debt, that's gonna form head too, man. Sometime in the future.
Well, it'll be soon if you've been watching the news.
I
I mean,
mean,
all you gotta do is watch the news, and a lot of it is they're telling you what's coming. They've already told you they're getting rid of the dollar. They're public about
oh
it
yeah,
now.
I mean they
Yeah.
don't want to print
So
anymore.
the debt is at the point where it needs to be reset, and that's why they're talking about it. This is another show though, but there's
Yeah,
a
but
whole
anyway.
lot going on. I wouldn't even worry about it because it's being done away with, man.
But I'm just staying within our hobby. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's screwing
you
it
know,
up. Big
it's
time.
causing, I mean, listen, and then you got, like GW sets the fucking, the board. They like, okay, we can get away with selling one miniature for $70. So that means other people, manufacturers, are going to try to do the same thing. And there's going to be a tipping point. I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
people
it's all gonna
just
go
cannot
just down the drain.
maintain the hobby, except the collectors. And there's people who collect. Like I'm a Space Marine fan. I want everything Space Marine. I'm gonna collect it. That's fine. I mean, I get it. But gamers they're gonna just be done with it.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's not because they don't. It's because they're sick of the game. They just can't afford it.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
getting pricey. And then the third party, or like you were talking about, other people making their versions. Those people are jacking their prices up too. So,
They are. They
yeah,
are.
there ain't
Man.
no cheap aftermarket stuff, really. So I look at it this way: if I'm going to pay within $5 of it, I'm just going to go get the box one. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I'm not
I mean,
going
I
to
don't
go
know. I mean-
backwards if I don't have to. Now, if it's a $20 or $30 difference, that's fine. I could probably download the stats somewhere, but that's just kind of
I
my
mean,
personal opinion. That's all.
It's like people aren't buying GW because it's a fantastic game system. They're buying
Hello,
it for the
Teabagger.
models. They're
Yeah.
buying it for the toys. They're not buying it because it's a superior,
See?
game
He
mechanics.
gets it. Why can't I keep buying?
But it's just getting so expensive, man. People are they're just not going to do it. And that's
Well,
just my
and
opinion. I
especially
don't
when
know.
you look up like all that plastic, all those screws and everything. They're
Oh, I
made
know. It
in
only
China.
costs them what, maybe
they're
a dollar
made
at
at-
the most.
Yeah, like their markup is so outrageous, like considering the numbers that they work in. Now, making a mold for a plastic model is very expensive,
Yep.
right? Because basically you have to take a chunk of metal and you have to carve it out. So that's not an easy and inexpensive process. But when you're talking about you're going to make, I don't know, say 1,000,000 sprues off of that, you can kind of offset that high initial cost with volume sales. So, charging $60 for one miniature is a little bit steep. Like, I
Well,
could
yeah, 'cause
understand 20.
If they did that, it's only going to cost them what, a couple $100, and they're making millions.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I've been in the listen. I had a miniatures company, and this wasn't plastics. Or this was this was pin and the pewter tin mix, and it was like
Yeah.
it was about for me because I didn't do any of it. I hired people. It was about $10 a millimeter, okay, for a sculptor to sculpt whatever, right? So if you're doing 28 mil, it's about $280 for a single miniature for someone to sculpt, okay.
And
And
how
then
many
like
years ago was that?
oh yeah, this was probably like friggin' I don't know, like 8 years ago. So this was
Okay,
back
so
then.
double it.
Now, yeah,
Yeah.
so like the vulcanized like mold. I mean, that was like a molder would charge you $100 for a mold. But if you could
Yeah.
get 18, you could get probably 12, 16 miniatures on there on one mold. And
Mhm.
because I didn't do a lot of minis, I had my caster, Knuckle Duster is the company. Forrest
Okay.
Harris is the guy. He let me piggyback off of his lines. So like he would put my miniatures with his to just fill up a mold, and then he would just cast off his mold. But anyway, I mean, honestly, when all that's said and done, I mean, for one miniature, the initial cost, it's a couple $100. But when you start to, if you're doing like high volume, I mean, a miniature with the tin, it's like cents, man. It's like I think it was like 37 cents or 40 cents for a 20 millimeter, a 28 millimeter pewter miniature. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And if you're doing, and those
Yeah.
molds, I mean, the vulcanized molds, I mean, they'll last for a while, but not forever. They'll wear out or whatever. But I mean, if you're doing,
Hmm.
low production of something that's really wanted, and you charge, fucking $60 for some whatever, you're making this
Yeah.
massive. No one's going to buy it though. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a businessman, and I would think. I think if GW like would just sell in mass at a low price, dude, you'd have 10 times as many people in the game because they could all afford it, and everybody would be playing
Well,
every single army
yeah.
because they could afford it.
Yeah, if they lowered the prices
Yeah.
a bit, they would sell more.
Well,
But I mean,
there could have been an opportunity a few years back that, like, because Toys R Us in the States is no longer a thing, right?
No,
It's
it's gone.
Right.
Toys R Us is actually now a Canadian company, believe it or not. Right?
Really?
We do have Toys R Us locations up here. But there could have been an opportunity there that GW could have said, we could mass market this by selling box sets and that in Toys R Us, right? You get like people coming into Toys R Us to buy their Primaris box set or whatever, right? And yeah, they wouldn't be running games at a Toys R Us location or anything, but there would have been a business opportunity for Toys R Us to change a little bit and to, you would have like the distribution and
well,
I don't know.
GW does that with I think they have Barnes and Noble exclusives. I think they
Yeah,
partnership.
Blitzball is like a Barnes
They
and Noble
yeah they've
exclusive.
partnership with a couple like chain shops, but nothing like. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how any brick and mortar is going to make it in the long run because
Well, with
Yeah,
anything,
I don't-
all the
with
corporations
technology,
are, yeah,
I mean,
pretty
you
much
can
the-
order anything from your house in your underwear, naked.
Yeah.
You can order anything you want from the internet,
Yeah,
butt naked.
that's what I'm saying. Why
Now,
would you
just
have?
hope to God you don't go and actually answer the door butt naked.
Well, you can. I'll put some underwear on at least,
Yeah.
or maybe it depends on who's at the door. Maybe I won't.
Yeah. Maybe you'll show him your
It's like,
DVD.
hello.
Oh my God! Don't encourage him.
I forgot something. No, but I mean, brick and mortars in our hobby. I mean, at
Oh, I
least
know.
here, they're small. They don't carry like smaller company stuff. They all do the Magic, the shit that sells. So the Magic and the Pokemon, and
Yeah.
the 40,
And
the
understandable.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
That's it. No one
Yeah.
carry in my town. Listen, I live in a military town. This is like home of like the United States Army's like fucking tank corps, right? Bolt
Yeah,
action isn't here.
yeah.
Bolt action is not sold here. Flames of War is not
Yeah.
sold here in any of the shops.
Yeah.
There's no historicals at all sold here. Nothing.
Yeah,
The only things sold
Yeah.
in these shops are GW product, cards, and like Reaper minis, the bone stuff, and like
Well,
role-playing
that's a
games.
Texas company, right? Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like all those great products and those great games just are not being sold in store. And there's so much good product out there, but as a brick and mortar, they got to pick and choose because the overhead's high because the product is expensive. And then
Yeah.
when you have GW like demanding you order a certain like, I mean, I don't know what it is now. I mean, they used to have a minimum that you could only order, but I think that's been rescinded, to be honest with you. So I think you pretty much store whatever you want. But I mean, how many freaking? What is the product line of GW on the fantasy and the sci-fi level? It's massive.
Yeah.
Right.
they're
Yeah.
everywhere, and it's just growing. So
Now, I don't know, but I mean, it's tough for brick and mortars. I mean, they have to have some sort of trick to keep going.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I rarely buy out of my local because it's just more expensive. You know,
Yeah,
and
well,
honestly,
and
guys,
you're very niche
playing
market, too.
weird
You're
World War
like me.
II. Yeah, I mean, playing weird World War II. No one fucking carries any of that stuff. No
Yeah.
one carries Dust. No one carries Achtung Cthulhu. No one carries Incursion, Secrets of the Third Reich, Conflict 47.
Yeah.
None of it. Nobody carries any of that in a brick and mortar. None of them.
Yeah.
So it's just like when
The
I
only
walk into
brick
a game
and mortar-
shop, it's just like there's nothing to buy for me.
Yeah. Like the only brick and mortar here in Canada that I know that carries a lot of this niche stuff, like is a place called Meeple Mart in Toronto. And they primarily do online sales, but they have a brick and mortar store in Toronto. And but they must have had like multi millions to start up because like they have like a full, like they're as big as like say Wayland Games in Britain is. Like they're a big player here in Canada. Um, but yeah, other than that, like I can't. There's a place near me, City of London, that carries Warlord. Because Bolt Action is pretty popular up here. I think it's because of the historical connection, like
Yeah.
with World War One, World War Two being kind of in the zeitgeist again. Both of those games are pretty popular here, but anything not Warlord, you kind of have a hard time finding,
Really?
right? Like, yeah, like in 28, like Flames of War is reasonably popular here in Canada. Like, you can find players for it. You might have to drive couple hours away, but you can find
it's
it.
funny because like our local game shop that I go to, all they sell like miniature wise is GW stuff and some Reaper mini stuff. But when like on Saturday, I went up and played on Saturday. The games that were being played there was Bolt Action, people playing BattleTech. They don't sell any of that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes
So
you wonder why they were. Like, do they have like a thing where they charge you X number of bucks a month for
not yet,
rental?
not yet, but that's coming.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do because if people aren't buying their products, why are they going to host games that they don't handle?
We try to buy a soda or something while we're there, or whatever the hell it is, just to give them something. But for the most part, I've never bought anything. I mean, I bought some paints from there, maybe, but other than that, nothing. What are you guys laughing at? I got booger in my nose or something?
No, teabagging.
My phone rang, so
it was his sister. I'm like, that's why
it's like
answer it right now.
You promised me she would never call you again.
No, it was his sister.
Hopefully, my sister keeps calling. Yeah,
but see, we're slowly
He'd be too afraid to answer if it was some random woman. He would be way too afraid.
Sure.
Really?
Like, I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
To answer the phone. Really?
Wormut.
Hey, Minnie Wormut is here. All right. Hello. Put that up. There you go.
Yeah, Old Glory.
Brian.
Yeah. Old Glory.
Yeah. What
yeah.
would you do there, actually?
I don't know.
Old Glory's been around a long time. They have a huge...
Yeah, and I think they handle Eureka as well. Or is it Eureka or Empress? I can't remember which one. They handle one of the two.
So there's places there then. I mean, I don't know. Thank you, Minnie Wormut, for putting that up. So I haven't been to them. So
I've never even heard of them.
Old Glory almost got, I'll be honest with you, most of the, unless you're historical, like, 15 mil or whatever, they kind of got outscaled. Everything, at the beginning, 25 millimeter was the scale, right? But everything's slowly getting bigger. So, 28, 32, hell, we're up to 35, 40 millimeter now in some games.
Yeah.
their mini line is small, so it's not very compatible with a lot of other mini lines. So they're kind of I don't know, if you're OCD,
Well, they
you
were,
stay away from it. But
yeah,
See,
they
but
were like the go-to for Napoleonics in
oh
American
yeah,
Civil War, like for the historical people, right?
I remember they used
Like,
to sell molds. They used to sell molds of Napoleonic, like
mm,
rank and file, that you can just cast your own
yeah,
shit. Like
Oh
yeah,
wow,
French guard or
that'd be
whatever.
cool.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, that's the way it used to be done, right? Like
Yeah.
back, like there's that video somewhere on YouTube. It's forget the actor's name. Is this British actor? He was in the original Star Wars movie as
Oh, Peter Cushing.
uh, Peter Cushing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a video. It's like a newsreel of him making his miniatures and painting them, and he's got like his whole setup on the floor of
On the
this
floor,
room. Like
yeah.
he's wearing like his smoking jacket, and he's got his pipe and stuff, like making his
That's
own
cool.
miniatures. And that's how you used to do it. Like
That's pretty cool.
you didn't have a lot of stores that even sold it. They sold the molds, like the early days of D&D, like when Gygax was making D&D, it was the same thing. They used to cast their own miniatures, skeletons or orcs or whatever, and boom, there you go, right? Like, yeah, the hobbies really changed in our lifetime, or before our lifetime. But yeah, that's how it used to be done, you know. People don't remember that, but I do briefly. When I started getting into the hobby, like in the late '80s, that was starting to kind of, that's when like Warhammer 40,000 first came out with Rogue Trader, and they had miniatures that went with it, and well, and even Games Workshop back then, they had a lot of stuff like in the original Rogue Trader that they never made miniatures for.
Yeah.
They just had the stats in the back. Like I think they made Zotes for
Yeah,
like
Zoats.
a year. Yeah, like they were cool, and they never made a Jockey Arrow miniature.
Yeah,
Um,
well actually they did. I think they made one. Those are the apes, right? The smart apes.
yeah, they're like orangutan people or
Yeah, I
something, and they
think
fix stuff. Yeah,
I think they made one for like one of the like little skirmish games. Just one. I mean, it's not like an army or anything.
yeah,
But
yeah.
So
like
they had like a battle of
But
the apes.
well, there was like a race of like
no,
super smart apes. Like Jakaro or Jakitos. I don't know.
yeah, they were like
Hmm.
techies. They
Cheetos
would
or some
just like
shit.
they would fix and modify things, and
Yeah.
so you'd get like these random bonuses. Like if you had a predator tank or whatever, they would like modify it so that all of a sudden you have more armor or it moves faster or something. Like there was some weird rules with it,
I remember
but
Huh.
it was interesting.
the original Imperial Assassin had these like digital lasers on their fingers, like digilasers, I think is what they're
Yeah,
called. And it was a Jacaro design or whatever those things are called. But yeah, they had
yeah,
like super tech. They made like some super tech, but yeah, that's some
yeah,
old school right there. There's some Rogue Trader stuff there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Oh, I'm trying to think, like, because that's when like GW used to have the Judge Dredd stuff. They had
Yeah.
Dark Future, which was kind of a Mad Max type of
Yep.
car game. Um, they had and they still do own those IPs, but all they do is just dole it out to other companies to
Well,
make, right?
there's
Like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is done by another company now,
yeah.
but it's their intellectual property, right? Whereas before they actually published the RPG, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yeah, the role playing game. That was a cool role playing game. I played that a
Yeah,
few times.
it's fun once you start getting into the crits, eh? Like
Yeah.
the game just escalates. You start losing limbs and collapsed
Rebel
lungs and all fun stuff.
mini Warmutt mentions Rebel Minis. Yeah, that's another good. But they're again, I want to say they're another small scale size too. I think they're
So
pushing
they're more
15s
historical
and
then.
25s. Yeah,
See,
I think they're mostly 15 to be honest with you, because 2 Hour War Games, they use a lot of their rules. They play in 15 mil, and I think Rebel Minis teamed up with them a couple times and did some stuff, but I think they're mostly 15 or 20 mil,
see, I like
if I
15
remember
Yeah.
correctly.
I like the 15 millimeter size for the tanks, the armor, and the troops. To me, are paintable. If you go too small, I don't know. Some guys do fantastic painting on these little teeny tiny pieces that I probably couldn't match that. But
I mean, to be honest, if I didn't have so much invested in 28 mil, I'd go 15. You could do a lot more with it. It's
Yep.
I want to say
Yeah.
it's cheaper,
Very
but
handy
depends on
size.
where you're buying it from. The Flames
Well,
of War ain't
overall, it's
cheap.
cheaper. But you're getting with Flames of War. Usually, you're getting like 4 vehicles for the price of 128, right? Like if you were to buy a Warlord like M18 Hellcat, you
Yeah.
could get like 4 of them from Battlefront for the same price, right?
well,
Um,
it's easier
so
to
it's
store.
better. 15's a better vehicle scale too. Like 28 is a skirmish scale as far as I'm concerned. Like
Well,
when you
and
start
that's another
getting,
reason. That's another reason all these skirmish games are becoming so popular, because people don't have to invest so much money into it. Just a handful of
Yeah.
minis, maybe a vehicle, and you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you look at Dave with Pulp Alley, right? That's going to take off because I think you can pretty much take any miniature and throw it in the game and make it seem to fit. Like you could take your 40K miniatures and have a game with it.
Yeah.
Like you could do Kill Team or Mordheim or whatever with Pulp Alley rules, right? And so that's going to be something that and solo gaming is going to gain in popularity, right?
Yeah,
Like
after this
these
pandemic,
universal rule systems. Yeah,
I've seen
Well,
lots of people
I'm
going
hooked on it a
solo
little
now.
bit more now.
Oh yes, it's definitely increased the tabletop stuff
Yeah.
And
a
then,
lot.
Board
I mean,
game in
you-
general.
I mean, you
Yeah.
guys are on the video game side a lot. I'm sure video game sales are fucking enormous now because of the
Well,
lockdowns and
we
all
do
that.
because we do both though, Brian. So on the video game end, there's no physical product anymore. Almost everything's downloadable
Yeah.
content. And honestly, I miss the days where you got a cartridge and you put it in, or if you put a disc in because you're holding it.
You know,
So, but they're honestly getting away from that. That's almost at its end. And the thing with the miniatures are there's something tangible. You can hold it, you can move it around and play. But plus the other stuff requires internet and electricity. And we learned firsthand with that storm last year. You go 9
Yeah.
days without power, you can still sit there and game. In
Well,
the evening,
that's
you don't have to have power to play on tabletop.
there's a big conversation right now why it's becoming like that, and I think one of the reasons is, first of all, cost. These companies don't have to produce product. They don't have to produce physical things anymore. They just release it on their electronic platforms, and you don't have to buy packaging. You don't have to do CDs or whatever the crap they got to do, or put it in stores or whatever. They just sell it to you through their servers or whatever the hell it is, and that's all they got to do. They don't have to do any of that kind of product, creation. And the downfall with that. Okay, now what's the hot first person shooter right now? Who makes it? What's the company?
Be Activision.
Okay, let's say Activision. Okay,
Call of Duty.
First of all, no company's ever gonna last forever. That's a fact. Now, what happens when Activision fails? Okay, all that shit
you'll
that
have
you've
so many
bought.
kids and even young adults get so pissed off that they.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's sorry. I mean, we're chapter 7. We're completely defunct. All that's gone, and unless someone buys it and services all of your mainframes that have all that product of all these people in the cloud, or I don't even know the terminology for it.
Well,
It's gone.
Thanks, Mini Warm Up, for stopping by. We appreciate it. Thanks for the info too. Have fun with Zombicide. Yeah,
What is Homicide?
Zombie Fight. That's a cool game.
yeah. A steak dinner. Well, yeah, you got to go, man. Take care. Well, yeah. The problem though, like, is I guess it's gonna boil. What are you doing, Ashley?
Hold on, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah,
Come on.
she's lost our screen there. It's the
No,
other tab.
it's there.
Thank you.
No, I brought it over there.
So, now you're gonna look up Zombicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good game. It's a board game, miniature board game. It's fun.
Well, if it's got zombies in it, hell yeah.
It's got like
Runs about.
it's
80
got all
bucks,
sorts
I
of
think.
different. There's like modern day zombies, and there's like
Try
sci-fi
160.
zombies, and like fantasy
Zombicide.
zombies, and
4 box is how much?
160.
160.
Yeah,
It's fun,
you know
yeah.
what? Again, but you know what you can do? Get a copy of Pulp Alley, get some zombie miniatures, and get your favorite character miniatures, and do a zombie game that way.
yeah.
A lot cheaper.
Actually, it's really,
And just
I mean,
as
it's not
enjoyable.
too bad for what comes in this box.
You get a lot, but you
I'd say
get a
there's
lot of
a
minis
lot.
in it.
There's 71 minis.
Yeah.
Well, see, and everything's going up in price. The video game industry, interestingly enough, like we talked before, they're doing their crossovers because I've watched the miniature world just explode the last 4 or 5 years, really been picking up. And then, of course, all the craziness just caused it to do more. So it's, oh, wow. T-Baggins, I forgot, where does T-Baggins work at?
I don't remember what.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. But back to what we were talking about before we got sidetracked with Zombicide. There is, I like the 15 millimeter scale myself. The 6 millimeter scale, I bought some of those. Like I said before, they're cool. They're little tiny. If you want to do a big war and you have a regular table, it's fantastic. You
Yeah.
can build a big army. You can do
Yeah.
a big game. But the bolt action stuff to me is too big. It's almost too big then. So I don't know. I like the 15 millimeter scale. It's just my preference.
Now, like
28 for Warhammer's good, but you know what I mean for other stuff.
if let's say Flames of War, if Flames of War played like a bolt action or something like that, I might be interested in it. You know, like the space. I just don't like. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the mechanics of having like, you know, fender to fender T-72s or 30 T-72s all butted up against each other across the battlefield. That's just ridiculous. That's dumb. Just looks stupid. Doesn't make any sense. Tactically, it wouldn't have happened in real life like
It's
that.
almost like if you were to use, well, it's like with bolt action. I've known people to use 15 mil miniatures for
Yeah.
bolt action, but all the same ranges and everything, and it's a much more enjoyable game because it just looks like, what is it in bolt action? Like a light mortar, like a section mortar. So like that's like a 51 millimeter, maybe a 60, has a range of like 24 inches. So
Yeah.
if you take the real life range of that mortar, which is 600 meters,
Yeah.
then that means 24 inches is 600 meters in the game scale.
And
Like, it just seems weird to me.
well, that's the thing. The game mechanics are designed for the size of the table. So
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
It's
they
ridiculous.
have to scale it down. Some of the stuff,
But
like
but again, if you play in 15 millimeter with those same rules and
That looks
distances, it makes a little bit better
Yeah.
sense. It makes it a little easier to swallow.
well, and that's
So-
that's why I like World of Tanks. World of Tanks, the game itself, it's got 4 tanks. So if there's 2 of you, you each have 2. Or if there's 4 of you, you each have 1. It's a free for all. It's not no massive army. Team Yankee I like because you can build a small army, but if you keep it in points, you got to pick and choose what you want strategically to win with. You're never going to have this flood all tables. Even these guys with the big tables, if you notice, they got 6 or 8 people playing.
Yeah.
You know, and they have 2 plywood sheets put together, so you got a big table, but it's still not one person's 100-piece
Yeah.
army. So
Well, and then when you're getting into games that big, it's kind of like, why don't you just play an operational level game? Like you take your Team Yankee or Flames of War bases and that, and put it into a game like Rommel, right? Which is operational level, where
Yeah.
the scale is like each grid is 1 kilometer of area, and each 2-man or 3-man base from Flames of War is a company of men, right? So you're totally out of skirmish gaming at this point, right? And each turn is an hour long. Like if you're talking about, oh, we'll play a whole division against a whole division, well, cripes, doing that in Flames of War is going to take you 6 hours just to do one turn, right?
Well,
So you may as well get a rule system that's better for that.
it depends, though. I would say only because the more it's just like anything else. I've gone into the store, so I'm not as familiar with everything Warhammer like maybe you guys are. These other guys, these players, they could have 200 pieces on the table, and they got this big game going. They're knocking things out. They're rolling. They know this, they know that. They're removing pieces. It's the same thing I've seen with like Flames of War. Once you got it down, the armor's being killed off the field pretty quick. If you don't know the rules,
Yeah.
you have to keep double checking, like we've had to do on some things. That can drag it out. But if you've got the game down, you're gonna roll and shoot. You're either gonna destroy the tank or not and move forward. I mean,
yeah, I think operational level is really for like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like the tactician guys that like the like kind of simulation games, not so much like a skirmish game. They want like historical
Yeah.
simulated, level of complexity. But and just the mainstream people, most people don't want to get at that level. They want something fast and furious, something fun. The term is beer and pretzels gaming. Just
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
rules. Just throwing dice,
It's just-
whatever, having a good time.
yeah, it depends on what you like. Because I
again-
don't have time for a 4-hour battle.
Yeah.
I don't. But for an hour, well, if you're going to sit down and watch an hour show, or you're gonna do something, you could usually do 40 minutes to an hour. It's kind of what I like about Kill Team, man. It's just 4 turns or something that's objective based on it. I mean, you're going to get done. You're not going to be there all day. You don't have a large army. It's just a quick, fast version of Warhammer. So I see why they pushed that out. Went over pretty well. I like it. But
I'm
Yeah.
curious if those skirmish games aren't going to shoot GW in the foot, because I think, the new people, I don't think they're going to be, investing in large armies because of the expense, but they'll stick with these skirmish games. And I think, well, that, I'm curious, all you 40K players or whatever out there, do you think that would like cause like, lower sales? Because I mean, you don't need these massive armies. You just have a handful of guys and maybe a tank, and you're done.
I think from a marketing point of view, there's a certain level of intimidation that happens when the game gets too big, like in terms of the number of miniatures on a gaming table, because your initial sort of getting into it is so high now, right? And then you got to assemble all these miniatures. You got to paint all these miniatures. And a little skirmish game, it's like you buy like, say, a squad of Sisters of Battle and a squad of like Nurgle or something, and you assemble them, you paint them, you play that game, then you're already sort of in the hobby, right?
Yeah,
So
it
it's
just
like,
pulls you
oh, I
in even
can play
more.
40K now, and if I buy a tank and another squad of Sisters of Battle, then I can play a full-fledged 40K game, right?
yeah,
So
they
there's
make
that
them.
to it. Like, yeah, they do all right. I think yeah, like when you look at these guys that play, like that are into Napoleonics or whatever, it's a serious commitment. Like
Oh yeah.
like the historical war gamers, it's like all this commitment, and yeah, it's just the amount of money that these guys will spend, and then
Oh
the
yeah.
only time they ever really get to play is at at conventions. so they have to ship everything with them. You know,
And
Wow.
and
hope
that
to
gets
God nothing
expensive.
breaks.
You know,
Yeah,
I've lived in this town for 7 years. Never seen a Napoleonic game. Never seen an American Civil War.
yeah,
Never seen any, pike and shot game. Nothing. It's all,
yeah,
it's just because, it's a commitment. And yet now I've seen it at conventions and stuff, but that's where people that play that stuff converge, is because it's about the only place you can play, unless you know people that are into it and you play at your house or whatever. But no
yeah.
stores are going to carry Napoleonics or, ancient
Yeah, but
No,
they're
it's a
carrying
weapons
like
shame.
or.
you said, they carried a lot of Magic, right? Cards,
Oh, yeah.
decks. So it's
Yeah,
easier for the guys to carry those around and store a deck of cards or two than it is. Because that's the drawback too. Is you get enough miniatures, you know how that goes. You got to store them.
Yeah.
You got to have somewhere to put them. You put effort into them so that don't get bumped around or whatever. And if you're only doing a little bit or a few games, it's okay. But I could see where it would get, way costly.
Yeah. I mean, even like the
yeah,
card games, I mean, it takes up a lot of space. They got all the bits and bobs you use for your cards, and then like they have the back issue, card boxes that you look through to find whatever. It takes up some space too.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
mean, nothing like minis or whatnot. But I don't know.
Oh,
It's an interesting hobby that we're in, and we all have our kind of biases and and the learning curves that we have for it and whatnot. But it's it's getting expensive, and I don't know. I think video games have a lot more, you know,
But you had a point.
playability.
Basically, yeah, it is to a point. You have to have internet. You have to have power. And then if say it's all backed up on the cloud, well, yeah, if that goes down, then you lose everything. Now
I'm
with a
telling.
miniature game, you don't lose anything.
yeah, but the video games it takes zero space once you buy
Exactly.
your Xbox or whatever your initial commitment is. If it's a PC, whatever you're storing it on, that's it. You're not going to sit there and paint your game.
I mean,
But
yeah, just think of all that time that you spent building, painting, whatever, putting armies together. All that time can be spent on your couch actually playing a video
yeah,
game with people across the
Yeah.
planet. And it's just like, I mean, this is a niche hobby that we have. And I
Hmm.
just, with the prices and like game mechanics that force people to play large armies or whatever, or even games that are out and then not supported. All of a sudden, let's
Yeah.
say like Necromunda. I mean, I don't even know if there's a new version of that out right now, but that was huge. It was freaking
yeah,
huge, and
it was
everybody
huge.
played it. And then and then it was dropped, and then wasn't supported, and then like no one, like for some reason people stopped playing it. I mean, if it's a good game, keep playing it, but
Well, now they're
that's
on
what happens.
Yeah.
what was that?
And then you
Warcry.
got these
Well,
games that
yeah, like I was a big Warhammer Fantasy Battle player. I had a Skaven army, probably about 2,000 points, maybe 3,000 if I took more elite type troops. But I had a lot of troops because the Skaven were a horde army.
yeah,
Basically, you won with numbers, right? And like I couldn't believe when they got rid of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. They literally went to the extent of removing all the product from the shelves of the stores, right? Because immediately upon it being terminated, Age of Sigmar came out. So they pulled absolutely all the stock of Warhammer Fantasy Battle off the shelves, sent all of that back to England to be destroyed. So
that's
they weren't
crazy.
even like I can understand, okay, we're not producing any Warhammer Fantasy Battle stuff, but what you got in the stores will sell off, and for the next year or so you can still play the games in the store. We're not going to chastise you, but it literally came down to the stores here in Canada, the day of that Age of Sigmar came out, you were not allowed to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle in the stores. Even if you went and spent like $3,000 worth of miniatures the year before, right? You could not play the game in the store. So basically,
Whoa.
they killed it and murdered the game completely.
I would never
Like,
go to
if
a
I had
store like
bought-
that.
Yeah, well, they do, and people go for it. Like, it's a cult. Games Workshop is a cult. And, you know, like,
And we've all
people
fallen
will
into
just
it.
eat it up.
I think we all. I
Well,
think we all do. We all
I'm
do our
not anymore.
time with
I'm not
GW.
anymore, but we all did our time at one
Yeah.
point, though. And yeah, and it's just I don't understand that mentality. Like, I remember when Games Workshop, like again, early on in its history, when they had White Dwarf magazines, you would have advertisements for other game products in there. You'd even have D&D articles in the magazine. And you know, there would be like a 3-page adventure in there for Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it was just such a different culture back in the old days. Like, companies weren't as, it was more like a friendly competition type of idea where, yeah, you have competitors, but they're also kind of chummy with each
pals.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It was a weird culture back then. And I guess there wasn't as much money involved back then, but I miss it. You know, I miss
I
having
miss
that
the
game
the
magazine.
inclusiveness, back then. It's like, because really, I mean, everybody was backing each other to try to, get this
Oh, wow.
hobby up and going and whatnot.
What
Yeah.
I feel bad.
But there's, I guess, whatever. I mean,
Well-
GW is easy to yell at and whatnot because they're the big boys on the block. But again, without them, this hobby would be,
Yeah.
even
And
smaller.
then you
Well,
wouldn't have
it's a
anything
gateway.
to talk about. A gateway drug, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, gateway into miniatures, yeah.
But man, if I had, instead of having that
drugs would be
Skaven
cheaper.
army, if I had bought Bitcoin back then, ooh, I'd be a multimillionaire right now.
Oh man.
But there are
That's
some
all I have
things
to
like
say.
the terrain that you can get for $20 to get a bunch of pieces that are thick as crap, sturdy, and just add to the table. So not everything they have is.
No,
I
it's true.
don't know. I mean, it's if you're gonna play the game, play the game. If you're not, then play something else. I mean, I see both sides of the coin. Doesn't really matter to me. I just like
Well,
the game.
and and if you have the miniatures and stuff, like there's other games you can use it in. There's
Yeah.
like nobody holding a gun to your head saying that you have to play it with this game only. I mean,
Right.
like I use D&D miniatures, like the pre-painted ones for fantasy stuff.
Oh yeah.
For other games. Like, I don't use it for Dungeons and Dragons so much. Well, not 5th edition, anyways. I play like
What
basically
happened?
1st edition.
Sorry, Teabaggins.
Um,
I haven't gotten much sleep.
What do you say?
All right, guys. Well,
No yawn.
I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
head out. I gotta.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
have
I'm
to
gonna
get
have
going
to.
too. It's almost 7 here. So
I gotta
we
eat
haven't had
something and
dinner
try to
yet.
get a couple hours of sleep before I have to go back into work.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Eric,
do so.
Greg, Ashley, good
Yeah,
talking
Have
to
a
you.
take
good
care,
Father's Day, you
Happy
guys.
Father's Day to everyone.
You too.
Thank
you
you.
too.
And take
Hang in there, guys. Okay. It'll
We'll
get better.
try.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
See you later, Brian.
Take it easy.